Newsbreak, brought to you by National Mutual.
Good evening, I'm Peter Hitchener. Prime Minister John Howard has promised Australia's lowest paid workers pay rises of up to $24 a week. It would be phased in over 3 years in annual rises of $8.
The Prime Minister was given a standing ovation as he walked into the Victorian Liberal Party state conference. His keynote speech was to gain even more applause as he announced the government's long-awaited response to the ACTU's Industrial Relations Commission case for more money for the lower paid. Canberra's offering a rise of $24 over the next 3 years, phased in with 3 $8 a week increases.
It gives the lie to those ridiculous claims still made by the Labor Party that we are indifferent to the interests of the low paid.
But that's not likely to satisfy the union movement. The ACTU wants 3 annual safety net adjustments of $20 a week for workers who don't get pay rises through enterprise bargaining. Opposition leader Kim Beazley worries about people trying to get into work, accusing the government of deliberately talking the economy down.
They managed to create a lessening of confidence. They managed to create a more sluggish economy.
Peter Harvey, Canberra.
Police in Victoria have smashed a major drug ring in a series of raids around Melbourne and in the state's north. Amphetamines worth up to $1 million were seized from a makeshift drug factory at Elmore near Bendigo. Other drugs and weapons were found in simultaneous raids on 19 premises around Melbourne. 24 people were arrested, some at gunpoint. They face a variety of charges ranging from drug trafficking and possession to firearms offences. Thousands of people have welcomed home Australia's latest hero after a 9-month epic sea voyage. When he arrived in Fremantle this afternoon, 18-year-old David Dix became the youngest person to sail solo around the world.
It took an 18-year-old surfie to reignite Fremantle's passion for all things nautical, not seen to this extent since the 1987 America's Cup. A flotilla of vessels greeted the teenage yachtsman, every vantage point at a premium as his 10-metre sloop Sea Flight weaved its way through the welcoming party. Friends and relatives looked on anxiously as Mother Patricia and Sister Robin were ferried to an onboard reunion 264 days in the making.
David Dix, welcome home.
The barefoot globetrotter has dreamed of circumnavigating the globe since he was 5. 13 years later, everyone from the West Australian Premier down was there to see him achieve his goal.
I miss my family and friends and that, but never actually felt depressingly lonely or anything like that.
The Sydney to Hobart race veteran is the youngest sailor to cross the world solo, and it was anything but smooth sailing. Flooded radios, a broken mast and disabled generator almost brought the journey to an early end. For now, the toast of the yachting world is shedding his sea legs for the life of a landlubber.
Would you like a beer, Dave? Yeah.
Have you had a beer yet?
Yeah, it's about my 4th.
Oh, okay. Nick Coe, National 9 News.
The huge tide of Rwandan refugees continues to pour out of Zaire, returning to the country they fled more than 2 years ago. Hundreds of thousands of Hutus have swamped authorities and aid organisations trying to care for them as they make their way home. Border officials at the crossing point between the two countries have now abandoned trying to register the refugees. Despite the exodus, the United Nations says it will still send an international military force of peacekeepers to oversee the operation and help distribute aid. Michael Jackson has made an emotional visit to the cancer ward of a Sydney hospital, where he handed out presents to sick children. Jackson gave away thousands of dollars worth of presents and described the time he spent with the children as the highlight of his Australian tour so far.
This is for you. Thank you.
I'll sign a picture for you.
At the Opera House, the self-styled King of Pop was dwarfed by a floating statue of himself as he said goodbye to more than 10,000 of his loyal fans. However, those farewells proved a little premature. Storms in southeast Queensland delayed his flight to Brisbane until tomorrow morning. A brief look at the national weather now. Fine for Perth, Adelaide and Brisbane. Showers for Hobart, showers easing in Sydney and Melbourne, and a late storm for Darwin. That's the news for now. Good night.
This has been a National 9 News presentation.